So this is probably going to be a 2-day thing because last time I done springs and stuff, it took me about 2 days by myself. We're going to be doing leg day on the Commodore. We've got the Munro GT Sport shortened struts that are, well, I guess they're made for the lowered king springs. So we're going to be doing, I think it's SSL in the front and we've got SL in the rear. So I've never done springs and struts, I've done coilovers, but you know, it's the same thing pretty much. We're running an impact wrench today and my trusty set of tools. It's a nice WD-40 at the back because you never know what you're going to run into. I want to measure the stock height that it's at the moment. So we're going to go around, we're going to do the front, the back of both sides. I'm going to write that down, and then at the end of the install we're going to do it again and see how much it's lowered. King springs and the Munro shocks, it's meant to lower about 30 mil. So hopefully we'll get around that. We're going to measure the height between the center of the hub. That's where apparently it's meant to be. Apparently that's where you're meant to measure from. So we're going to go from the center of the hub to the bottom of the guard here. We're going to get a rough estimate. Like, obviously it's not going to be perfect to, like, you know, to exact millimeter, but it'll be close enough. So it's measuring from the center of the hub to the top of the lower part of this guard is about 400 roughly. So hopefully that'll drop to about 370 and then we'll be magical. Okay, so if you didn't know, that was the front wheel. So the front wheel is 400 from the center of the hub to the top of to the lower of the guard, and in the rear, let's say 395-ish. So a little bit lower in the rear. So hopefully this will drop not as much, so it'll keep sort of level. I want to keep it level as possible. I don't like it, you know, scraping your ass along the road. I don't like that. Okay, so I've just finished getting the car up on the jacks. So we're up in the air, and I have got these two side wheels off, because I'm going to be showing you guys this side. I'm just going to do it just like I've done with painting the brake calipers and stuff. I'm not going to show you all the wheels because they're the exact same on either side. We're going to start by doing the rears, and yeah, I don't know where I was going. But okay, so what you're looking at is the rear suspension setup, and basically what we have to undo is back here you have the sway bar end link. You have to undo that. You got to do 4 bolts at the top of the strut that holds it to the body, and we have 1 bolt down to the lower control arm and then 1 just underneath the hub, which you have to undo. They are 2 different lengths. Don't mix them up, otherwise that will be bad. And also you got to take off this well, I think it's the brake line just here. You got to take that off. Yeah, so I'll get to that and I'll come back. End link out. Okay, so we've got our strut bolt out. Now let's get the hub bolt. Okay, hub is free. Now we're ready to take it out. Ooh. We out. Okay, so we got the strut out. Now I've got to take the hat off to put onto the new struts because they don't actually come with a new one. So what we've got here is we have the strut assembly. And now what I'm going to do is, that's what I'm going to take off. This is the hat, this is the top hat. Now the way to do that is you put your spring compressor on either side of the spring. You basically compress the spring obviously, and then Allen key in the top with a bolt, like a spanner or something. Loosen that off, take the hat off, and then slowly let out the spring compressors. So we're going to do this very carefully. I've never done it before, we'll see how it goes. So let's get to it. Okay, so now you can see we've tightened this up. You can see that the hat is very loose on top of there. So we're going to get Allen key in there and a shifter onto that. Okay, so that's a 19 there. So it's an 18. It is. Okay, so as you can see, we can undo that. That's taken off. We've got bolt. So I'm going to set it in how it goes on. So we've got bolt, and then that. On at this top. Take that off. Take that off. Take the boot and the bump stop. Oh, that can sit on it. And there is our shock. There is our spring. We don't want that anymore because we're putting new ones on and new shocks. So we can get rid of all this pretty much. I think we need to reuse that. So now I'm going to loosen off this very slowly. Okay, so apparently with the dust protectors that go over the strut, you have to cut them down 50 mil or something. The stock ones. If you have aftermarket, then I don't know about that. But for the stock ones, you have to cut them down about 50 mil. So what we're going to do is get our 50 mil and a hacksaw, and we're going to have a go at it. Okay, so now what we do is that should go on there. It should come just short. Yeah, sweet. So when that is compressed, it will stop dust. So that goes on. Boot goes on. Cap thingy dingy down. That goes on there. This goes on there. Sweet. Okay, that's all gonna fit. Spring compressors, compressed spring, top goes back on. Exact same process. So let's reassemble the new strut back into the rear of the car. Basically the exact same way we took it out. So just reverse everything you just done. Okay, so that's about all I can do tonight because I can't use the impact driver because it's too loud. So I think I'm just going to go purchase a cordless impact tomorrow. They're actually much better than that piece of crap anyway. So I've done up these as tight as I can do it by hand, and the top as tight as I can do it by hand. You can't do the sway bar end link unless until you undo the other side, because it's got like a balancing thing. So I'm going to have to leave that till tomorrow to put on. So I'm going to finish it up here. So let's just go into the next day. Okay, it's the next day. And well, we're going to be finishing off the suspension on the Commodore today. I've gone and picked up this morning, gone and picked up a new tool, a new baby. Gone and got a Milwaukee impact wrench, new socket set, some new torque wrenches and a couple of spanners. I found yesterday that I needed some, and the compressor with the rattle gun is crap. It's horrible, don't buy cheap rattle guns. Okay, so what we're going to do, we have only done this one. Now I'm not going to say how long it took me to do it, because it is very embarrassing. But today I didn't end up tightening it up because it was getting too late and the compressor was too loud. So we're going to tighten it up, and then we're going to start moving around the others, which should take a lot quicker now that we have a good impact. Okay, so like I was saying yesterday, we can't get the sway bar end link in first because you need to undo the other side to let it, well, I guess, be able to get into the hole. So I'm going to go and undo that on the other side of the car so I can get this one in first. Make sure that's nice and tight. Okay, now we've got that done up. Now we're going to tighten the bolts underneath, and these ones are already tightened up last night, so now we just got to do them up, and that's why this comes in handy. Perfect. Okay, let's move on to the front. I think I might actually do the other side of the rear first, and then we'll move to the front.
20 minutes later.
Okay, so I've just finished with the second rear strut. So now both struts are in. Sorry, both struts and suspension and all that's in. This is the other one that I just done then. That was much quicker. I highly recommend the impact wrench. It's definitely money well spent. It hurts your soul buying it, but it helps. So we got both the rears in. That's the second one. That's the one I done last night. That took me X amount of time. I'm not going to tell you that. So now we're just going to move on to the front. So the front's a little bit different. As you can see, you got two bolts in there, whereas the rear, you had them on the lower controller. Same sort of principle. You got those two. And then you got the sway bar and the end link up here. I'm pretty sure it's a sway bar as well. And then on top, which is up in the actual engine bay, you have the top nut thing, which you have to loosen that off first. So let's pop the bonnet and loosen that one first. Okay, so like I said, with the top here, you use two spanners, but because I have the impact, and if you have an impact you can do the same thing, because it turns so quick, you don't need to hold it at the center. So So we're just going to loosen it off. We're not going to take it right off because you don't want the strut to actually fall out. So we're going to loosen it off just enough so we can do it with our hand later. So just do it about halfway. So end link bolt off, end link out. Okay, so a really stupid thing just happened. I actually had the drill on drive in. I didn't even check it, which was really dumb. So I was actually driving that in. I was like, why is it not working? And well, I drove it in and well, basically snapped the. Ow, that's fucking hot. I drove it in and basically snapped the bolt. Luckily, they come with new bolts, so that's good. But don't make that mistake if you don't have new bolts. Make sure it's on reverse because you do not want to be pushing it back in and snap your bolt. Let's put it on reverse and let's do the second one. Jesus. Now that's how you meant to do it. Look at that. No snap bolt. What? You have to take it all the way out with the spanner. Oh, okay. So now I'm going to hold up the hub with the jack, strut, impact. Oh, this is a heavy strut. Okay. And we are out of there. Let's go swap it over. Okay, so the concept of this is exactly the same as the rears. We put the spring compressors on, compress the spring, take the hat off, and then basically let out the thing and put it all back together with the new stuff. But this one, instead of having an Allen key, like a hex head sort of thing, and then the bolt, what you have is a 24mm bolt with a smaller bolt on the inside, which is a 10. So you have to put the 24 and then the 10 and go opposite ways to loosen it up. But we'll get to that when we release this. So let's compress the spring down. Okay, so that's definitely got it. So now we take off the top, just like I said. Spanner goes on, 10mm goes on, and we just loosen it. Now I already loosened it off a little bit because I was figuring out which size it was going to be. So yours will be a bit hard. Just get some WD-40 on it or something and give it a good crack. Okay, so we take that off. You have a nut. And that. And that with the bearing and stuff in it. Got that. Now there's a cable tie on the top and bottom of the rubber like dust boot thing. So you just want to cut that off without cutting your boot. So now you can pull the boot down and off it. Take the hat off like that. Put that there. Take the spring off. And you need the boot. So what you got to do is take the bottom cable tie off as well. Like that. And take the boot off it. Like that. Awesome. Okay, now when getting your new one, make sure you grab the right one. They are orientated differently. They have the bracket on a different side. So make sure you grab the right one because you obviously don't want to have the wrong one. Just do that, take that off, let that out. Okay, so I've gone and got some longer cable ties because the ones I have are a bit too short. So you want them pretty long. It should be about, for mine, it's from this plate to the top of the strut. So you want it pretty long. So just put it around the bottom again. Cut off the tag because you don't want that there. Let's release the spring. Okay, now your springs don't matter, which one. They're the exact same, they're identical springs. So again, squash it down. Let's get rid of that. Let's go here. Just going to squash it down with the spring compressors. Okay, that should be enough, hopefully. So we'll put that onto the top. Okay, So it goes in there like that. Then with this boot, we actually have to put it around the top. So that has to slip onto there. There, cut off. Then your bump stock goes on. Then this cap thingy ding. Then this big thing, big bearing, I think it is. Then this cap, the bolt, which they supply you with a new one. So we use the new one. Okay, so the spring is all together now, and now that goes in there. Okay, so now that we've done all that, now we've got to put it back into the car. So it's the exact process, just in reverse. We're going to put it up, put that, then we're going to put this top plate on, and then the bolt. So it sits on there, and then the bolt goes on, and then we'll do it with the impact gun, and then come back down here, do all the bolts and all this stuff back up. Just like we did taking it off. Okay, so those bolts are done up now. And just like the rear, you can't get the sway bar end-link in without undoing the other side because of the tension that's on the sway bar. So we've got to wait till we do the other side for that. But now we're just going to put our clips back in. So our ABS line just clips back into the bracket, which is the same bracket. It should be made the exact same as the stock ones. So that fits in there, and then your brake lines go in there. Like it, bend it. Okay, that goes in there like that. So we got them tightened up, that tightened up. Okay, let's do the top. Tighten the top. Now your top plate is on to keep it secure. Now if you want, you can go do torque settings and all that sort of stuff, but you know, I'm Australian, so we just do whatever. Okay, so that's tight, and then our cap goes back on top and it looks stock. Okay, so this one is done now. Actually, I might go and undo this on the other side first, and then I'll come back. Okay, so I've just finished up doing all the suspension. So now we have the rears and we have the fronts all in now, all tight. Caps are back on the tops, all done in there as well. So now I'm gonna start cleaning up. I'm gonna put the car back on the ground, see what it looks like, and then we'll do our measurements again to see how much we actually did lower.
Tomorrow for sure.
Okay guys, so fast forward about a week. I didn't actually have time that weekend to finish the video, and I decided it might be better to actually let the suspension sort of settle in to get, I guess, the ride height that it's going to sit at now. So this is how it's sitting now. You probably can't see that well. I'll walk around a bit better. But pretty much I finished it last weekend. I actually found that I didn't tighten the left front one up tight enough. I actually didn't do it tight enough, so when I took it for a test drive, it was actually rattling around a little bit. So I had to take it off again and retighten and just make sure it was tightened up pretty much. So one thing you have to watch when doing this is to make sure that you have completely tightened it all up. I found that I think I didn't actually compress the spring enough so that the hat could sit down far enough. So make sure you do that as tight as you possibly can. Make sure the hat will go down as tight as it can and still not be touching the spring, so when you release the spring, it's at the right height, like the right tightness, sorry. So pretty much what I'm going to do now, it's starting to get a bit dark, so I'm going to sort of hurry this up a bit, but we're going to have a bit of a walk around. I'm going to measure the ride height that it's sitting at now. So by memory, I think it was 400 in the front and the rear, I think. I'm just going to say it was 400, so if it was different, just, you know, do your own math sort of thing. Okay, so I'm going to measure the exact same side as what we originally measured when I had the stock suspension. So now it's online, the specifications say that this particular suspension should drop your ride height 30 mil from your stock height. So what we're aiming at here is 370 then, because I'm going off 400 if I can remember that's right. I'm pretty sure it was 400 all around. So we're going to see what height it is at now. Well, it seems that it's worked out pretty well. We're sitting at about, oh, sorry, just measure that wrong. We're sitting at about 375. So that means that we've dropped 25 mil. I'm pretty happy with that. I do think that going too low can be very impractical, and especially I use this car for work as well, so I put things in the boot. I don't want it to be weighed down so much that it's already been lowered, that I'm going to scrape on everything. I'd actually like to be able to get over a speed hump normally. So we've gone 25 down in the front. Now let's go see what we've done in the rear. So this one I think was 400 as well, and just like the front, center of the hub to the top, we're looking at about, oh, this one's actually lower. So we're looking at about, we're looking at about 360. So the rear has lowered 40 mil from what I originally measured. So we've gone 25 in the front and 40 in the rear. So I think that's pretty good. I do like the height. I think it looks very even throughout the whole car. So it doesn't look like the rear's too high or the front's too high or whatever. It looks very even. I'm really happy with that. I think that was money well spent. And also I think that the ride quality, I guess, is still the same as stock suspension. So I'm really happy with that. I know when I went coilovers on my Subaru, it was like jumping around on just the strut. There was no spring, there was no cushion. I was just driving around on blocks, so that wasn't very fun. Okay, so like I said, I'm really happy with how it's turned out, and I think it looks very nice. It's not too low that it's impractical, and it's not too high that it looks ridiculous. Now when I get some new thingos, so I'm really happy with how it looks. I hope you guys like how it looks as well. Nice and low, not too low that it's just impractical, and it definitely looks meaner. Anyway, I'm really happy with how it's turned out, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a like if you like the new ride height and you've taken something away from this video to help you either install new suspension or you're trying to get your struts out or whatever it is. I hope something has helped you. Just click the subscribe button and subscribe. That's a new word. Click the subscribe button for more content on the beautiful Commodore. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.